Welcome to the Yeah Buddy Experience podcast. If you're looking for a podcast to motivate you and get you on track to overcoming obstacles and challenges, this podcast is definitely for you. Get ready for powerful and inspirational goodness, brought to you by your hosts, Mike and Johnny.
Yeah, buddy!
Was out for it, so I'm blessed.
Oh, nice. And we are lucky and very fortunate and happy to welcome our lovely guest today. Our guest being... I'm going to let you reel it off for me.
Come on, you can pronounce
No,
that.
We've just been off camera. We've just been through how to pronounce your name.
Yes.
So
And now you've just
come
chickened
on.
out of
No
it.
chance. Andreena.
You had one job.
Yeah, but that's what was going to I knew I was going to do that. That's why I thought I'd start it off. Go for it.
Andreena Leeanne.
Excellent.
It's not even that hard to pronounce.
Andreena Leeanne.
Andreena Leeanne.
It's not.
yeah.
It's not. It's just I'm a bit slow
But
sometimes.
do you know, everyone, I get called Andrea, Angelina.
Well, see, I had
Angelica,
that. I
I'm
was
like-
looking at the paper going...
No. Andreena, it's just like, I don't know, it's just got 3 syllables.
Well, it might be tricky to remember for people that have known you for a long time, because I think you were saying earlier that you've changed your name recently. Is that right?
No, so that the first name's always been my name. I was born Andreena Leeanne Bogle,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the age of 19 I got married
Mm-hmm.
to a Jamaican in the 90s, when, you know, people were bringing over Jamaicans and marrying them and helping them get the stay.
Right.
I don't know if you remember them times. So I married a man, his surname was Walton, so then I became Andreena Leeanne Bogle Walton.
Mm-hmm.
But over the years, those names just haven't served me, you know, because I had to drop the Walton. I decided to drop the Walton when we got divorced, like a few years later. And the Bogle I discovered wasn't even my dad.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was my brother's dad. But because it was so difficult in the 80s to have 2 children by 2 different baby fathers and stuff, like my mom just decided to call us both the same surname,
Mm-hmm.
just so that it would just be easier, because, you know, she wasn't married to either.
Okay.
And yeah, so I've inherited a name. And in the 90s, I went to school around the corner, actually. I went John Kelly Girls in Neasden. And yeah, people used to do the Bogle dance every time they saw me. Like, yeah, it would be like, you know, you don't even use my name, just have this silly Bogle dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I carried that name for so long. Anyway, during lockdown, I decided that I was going to focus on my identity, and I just wanted to drop those names that no longer served me. So I applied to change it by deed poll.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm now Andreena Leeanne. And everyone says, like, how come you've got so many A's and so many E's in your name?
Yeah.
But I found that Andreena Leeanne were the only names that were mine,
Okay.
that I really liked.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I probably did a bit of injustice there. You are an inspirational speaker. You are a workshop facilitator, a poet, and what was it? A diversity champion. I championed that one, didn't I?
Yeah.
How's your day going?
Yeah, so far so good. The sun's out, so I'm really happy about that. Like, winter's really a difficult time for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so when it's winter, I don't do well with winter. I don't have like seasonal affective disorder or anything. I just have really low mood.
Have a what? Sorry.
Seasonal affective disorder. It's like winter blues or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's the correct terminology for it.
But I don't have it. I haven't been diagnosed with it. So I don't tend to give myself any labels or anything. But I know that around that time of year, I feel really down and sad. And then around this time of year, I feel like really upbeat and motivated and like
Which is to do with the sun, isn't it?
happy.
Where's the sun?
Yeah, it's the sun and lifting up your mood and
The vitamin D.
yes,
Yeah.
it is. Serotonin release.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a variety of things. But yeah, that is. I didn't actually know the name of that term.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that term before. But low mood and high mood, it goes seasonal. It always does.
Yeah.
Important question. Jumper or t-shirt?
I'm going to say jumper, because I have more jumpers than t-shirts. And I think jumpers can be more versatile, because some have a hood,
Yeah.
You can get like
You're-
short sleeve, long sleeve. You
Yeah.
can get like, I don't know.
You're explaining to the listeners now because
I
I'm with you. You don't need
prefer-
to explain to me. I'm jumpers as well.
Yeah, I'm jumpers because
I'm
of the
t-shirt.
coziness of jumpers.
I'm a t-shirt man.
Nah, man. I'd even wear a jumper in the summer.
No, I couldn't. do
Believe
it.
me.
T-shirts, it's t-shirts all day. Huge. What t-shirt jumpers? Where are you at?
Both.
Yeah, I won't say both, but more or less jumpers because I guess it's more like versatile because
It's cozy, man.
Cozy.
Cozy.
Wear a
Yeah,
jumper in
exactly.
the
It's
summer.
cozy.
That is it.
Sacrilege.
Nah,
It's
well, yeah.
Wrong.
The other thing I was going to say, right? So you, so we've managed to get you on the show.
Yes.
Forced. I forced it to come on.
Forced
The show.
forced to come on the show. I hope not. But your face, I don't know. I was going through your profile on Instagram, and I thought I'd seen you before somewhere. But you got a really pretty face, really
Oh, that's so
recognizable
nice.
face. And I was thinking, I don't know where I've seen you. Anyway, so I was going through maybe, and then I saw you on Jeremy Vine. Was that right? You were in the
Jeremy
audience.
Vine. Yes, I've been on Jeremy Vine. I've been on. I've been. I'm on
Supermarket
BBC
Sweep?
iPlayer right now. Actually.
Yeah. So this, I think I've
Wanted a Simple Life. It's called.
I've probably seen you in an advert or just
Yeah.
scrolling through or something like that. But I've definitely
You've
seen the
probably
face
seen
before.
me in a BBC Sounds advert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where else have I been? Supermarket Sweep.
So is this?
That's why I saw you.
Is that where you saw her?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I know. I've definitely seen you before.
I
So you've
don't
got their
know.
face.
I love being on TV, and it's really weird because like I love it now being on TV, but I recognize why I was desperate to be on TV. Like I always wanted to be visible. I always wanted my mum to see me because we've had a really turbulent relationship, and over the years, and there's been like years we're not speaking right now, and there's been years prior where we haven't spoken, and then when we did speak, she would say to me things like, I know you're okay because I see you, I Google you and stuff like that. And so it's been exhausting, to be honest. In my head, I sort of calculated that if I appear on TV or if I'm on radio and she hears my voice or she sees me, then she sees me. Like I always just wanted my mom to see me. Like it was just really weird. And so it became an obsession to always be on TV. But now I'm kind of like, I've sort of made peace with that now. We don't speak anymore.
Okay.
I'm on a journey. I've written about many things that I've been through in this book, and it's the main reason why we don't speak anymore, because like when you speak your truth, some people do not like what you have to say because their version of events might be different to yours, or they might not want you to air your laundry outside. And that in our community, in the Black community, we keep a lot of what happens at home in the home.
Yes.
And for me to speak my truth and put a load of stuff in this book
Yep.
about my experience with like homelessness, childhood sexual abuse, like all sorts of stuff, she said, I've gone too far. Like,
Okay.
But it's your story as well.
yeah, it's
So
my
the thing.
truth, and it's
Yeah.
really impacted me my whole life. And now that I'm 40, I've had enough of actually wanting her approval and wanting to be seen by her and all that, because it's exhausting. I don't want that anymore. It's out there now, and what can
So
we say?
talk to us about the book then, if you wouldn't mind holding it up to the camera.
So yes, this book is called Charred, A Survivor Speaks Her Truth to Inspire. And just to go back to the beginning of when
please.
I started writing poetry, right? I started writing poetry in February 2014, yeah? Because my partner, Jermaine, who's on her way here at the moment, she's really into writing and journaling and poetry and stuff like that. And she bought me a journal and said that when I get upset or anything like that, it would help me to write down how I feel, rather than getting angry and like, being difficult, just write about it. And yeah, that's what I did. I started writing. We went to an open mic night. I was queuing for the toilet. Someone said to me, "Oh, you look really creative. Do you want to be on the open mic?" And I was like, I haven't written anything since I was like 12 years old or something like that. At this time, I was in my early 30s. And as the night went on, I was just like, okay, if you get me a pen and paper, I'll write something. And if I feel comfortable enough, I'll
go on stage.
I'll go on stage and I will read it. And it was really weird because I did it. The guy got me a bit of paper. I wrote about the night. I got on stage and everyone like clapped for me and like was really like happy with what I wrote. Like, it wasn't anything spectacular, but the adulation that I got from that evening, I was like, wow, like I want this more, because I didn't get that from my family. Like I was like the reject in my family. I didn't get that. I didn't have much family, and I was always like the terrible person in my family. So having strangers clap for me in a Stoke Newington bar, like I was just like, this is awesome. Like, I love this. So I got home and I started writing more since February 2014. And then it was just in journals. Like, I was just writing and going to open mic nights and sharing what I've written and stuff. And then during the lockdown, I thought, why not just put stuff together in a book? So I had some poems published in a book called It's a Sister Anthology. Okay. It's an anthology of like same gender loving women from African and Caribbean descent in the UK. So that was published in 2018 by Team Angelica. So I contacted Team Angelica and I said, I've got these 2 journals, I've got some poems, I really think I'm ready to have them in a book now. And they said, all right, then type them all up and then we'll see. Type them all up, email them to us, and then we'll see how it goes. And it was just such a painful process to type them up, because it, at the time and over the years, I was writing when things pissed me off.
And then putting them away.
And then put it away.
Closing the door on you.
Yeah, and it really helped. It really helped me to process my feelings and emotions and stuff. So to actually go back and read what I had written, like a lot of it was really painful. Yep. It was really, really painful. And then, yeah, I want to read one now actually, but I don't actually know.
We'll go for
which one.
How have you arranged them in the book? Are they from date order or are they?
No, it starts off like speak your truth, and then like I go into like over the years, and then like certain things have happened, and then it's about like anxiety and stress, and then it was just like,
is it a journey?
Why I write? Yeah, it's kind of all of it is a journey, because it's all, I call it resilience in the face of adversity. Like, I think the best thing to do is probably read what it says at the back.
Yeah, go on.
Right, it says, there is a strong correlation between childhood trauma and mental health issues. I suffer with PTSD and depression and use poetry to write honestly about the multitude of issues I have experienced in my 39 years. I have found writing to be hugely therapeutic. While I recognise the value of professional therapy, my poetry has helped me to come to terms with some of these issues. If they're not already doing so, I hope to inspire the readers of this book to speak and write their truth. We don't have to be qualified writers to write down how we feel, and we don't have to share it unless we want to. This collection is called Charred. Think of a piece of wood that has been exposed to the flames. You may think of it as damaged, and it's true. It has been burnt and blackened, but it's still resilient and much stronger after going through this process. Think of me as a piece of charred wood. And that's why the cover has like charred wood on it. I've got some charred wood samples. I should have brought it with me to show you. It's beautiful.
That's wonderful. That is, because for me, growing up, when I was going through a tough time, my dad always said, write stuff, just whatever's on your mind, just write it down. And then I got to that point where I got over that hurdle, and then I started reading the stuff. And as you said, and that's why I was nodding when you said it, it just took me right back to the situation, to all the emotions were coming back. Yeah. The only thing I didn't do was then create a book, which I should have done. But that's really interesting. I do like that piece at the back is powerful, and I can relate to that. Just reading that out now, I'm sitting there going, I can relate, and I'm sure anyone else who's gone through tough times can relate to that. And it looks like a wonderful book.
I think Yeah, we can all relate to it. I mean, I do as well. I mean, obviously, because I used to be in a music group when I was younger, so I've written a lot of lyrics and stuff like that. But in between that, again, and it's not through anybody telling me to, I've written down a lot of stuff, not knowing it was journalistic, but just getting it out and then maybe even screw it up and just throw it away. So yeah, we've all been through trauma of sorts, but I think that's one thing that the general population don't really understand. We're starting to come around to it now in the mainstream, where everybody's like, if you need to talk to someone, talk to someone. And they're making it more acceptable for, especially for men, to speak, because they don't always. So I find that definitely, this is why I love to do the podcast.
Well, it's good because you're always learning. You're always
learning, but just from...
You're always learning.
What you've written on the back there is why I do this podcast. That was brilliant. I think that's amazing.
Thank you. We've all been through stuff though, isn't it? And like you said, it's only now that we're really being open and speaking about things that we've been through. But it's not until we hear other people's shit that they've been through.
Well, of course, because then you can say, okay, I can relate to that.
Yeah, you relate. And you actually, like, when you go through your stuff, it's like you feel like you're the only one going through this stuff. And then you hear other people's stuff and you're like, whoa, like, it's not just me that's got a really fucked up family.
And of course.
Like, so, yeah. And that's why... Like, I've left, like, lined pages at the back for people to start writing if they're not writing already.
That's nice.
There's no excuse because there's lined pages.
No, that's nice. I like that. That's a nice little touch, isn't it? You could make it your own book.
Exactly. Like, notes on self-care, like what I do for self-care.
Right, there you go. Flag that. What did I write down here? Where are we?
Shoot.
It was something to do... What is self-care to you? That's one of my questions.
What is self-care to me? Self-care to me is checking in with myself regularly, just to see how I feel. Like, how am I feeling? Like, checking in with my body, like, to see how I'm feeling, and implementing things that help me to feel well. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like, self-care to me is about making sure that I'm always, like, checking in with how I feel. Because sometimes I can run myself into the ground, and then it's not until I'm in the ground that I'm like, oh my God, maybe I should have paused a bit or worked on some self-care, like gone for a walk in nature, or like make sure I'm getting enough sleep that week. Like, sometimes I'm actually just like, I've reached exhaustion to the point where I can't even carry on, when really, if I really check in with how I feel, then I don't allow myself to get to that point where it takes me time to now get back up. Like, I'm regularly trying to hydrate myself, and like I play my handpan, which is a musical instrument. Yeah, I should have brought it with me. Like, I should have just brought all my props.
I'm learning stuff. Handpan.
No, the handpan is beautiful. It's just an instrument. It's quite expensive, but I really like it. And you just...
I'm having a look.
Yeah, Google it. It's beautiful. I used to listen to handpan music just to feel...
music.
Okay,
feel
yeah,
calm.
right. Yeah.
I've never seen that.
So is that... It's you don't get similar sounds to a steel drum, do you?
No,
it's more. It's deeper than that.
It's more like play it. So you probably
I can probably
play it. But
well, here we go. We won't get done for this. Does that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic.
I've never seen that before. It's similar to like steel bands.
Yeah.
But I've never actually seen that before.
So it was. Who is he? Is it Dion Dublin? Footballer.
Yeah, go on. He's on the Property Show.
Yeah, he made a. What did he make? That's why it reminds me of that. He made the Jube.
The Jube.
So it's a square, but it's similar. Is it
black and it's got?
Let's have a look. Jube introduction video. It is.
I feel like Googling it now. Do you know what? I've got so many instruments at home. I better not Google it.
This is a short demonstration on how to play the Jube.
Wow, I've never seen it. Never seen that before.
Yeah. So I went to a. Let me just put it back here. There you go.
Oh, I love it.
Interesting,
I
that's
want
interesting.
one of them. Like, we've got so many instruments at home because it's part of our self-care to actually, like, spend time in nature, play with our instruments, spend time together as a family and, like, do stuff like that. So,
So where does that originate from? So the one that you
What?
recommended,
The hand pan.
The
hand pan, and then the tube. So where do they originate from? Is this from the West Indies, or we going
I'm
further?
not really sure. I know it's a new instrument. I think it's Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
I think, but don't quote me on that because I
Because
don't actually know.
I've never seen it before. Because I've been
But
to
it
Trinidad and
sounds so
Tobago. I've been
beautiful.
Trinidadian.
Well, it sounds- yeah, is it Trinidadian?
Yeah.
Wow.
See, she knows what she's talking about.
And it's about 20 years old. It's not an old instrument.
Okay.
It's fairly new.
No, that's interesting, but I like the sound.
Yeah, it's,
You know,
like I said, it's
um,
very therapeutic. It's very yoga-ish. It's very meditation.
Sleep
it's
sounds, yeah.
mindfulness. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
quite nice though. This.
Yeah.
It's quite
No,
nice.
It's cool. It's cool.
It's quite nice. So you've got the hand pan,
I've got a kalimba.
a kalimba.
It's like a hand thumb piano.
Okay.
Kalimba.
A fun piano. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Like you're meant to just like flick it with
like
your
harmonica
nail.
size.
Like it's wooden and it's got like little keys.
Yep.
And then it's got like a hole in the middle where the sound.
And the type of music it makes.
Google it.
Ping
Kalimba.
ping pong sounds.
Kalimba.
Kalimba.
It's in that sort of like beautiful, relaxing.
There you go. See,
calming.
you not seen those before?
I've not seen this before either.
Yeah. Where are we?
I
So
quite like obscure instruments.
No, it's good though, because what's quite nice is you're learning, but it's also it's different to. I bought a guitar when I was at uni, and that was very much I bought it because everyone else in my
Yeah.
class was buying. I've never seen this before, never. But you know what's quite nice with both of those instruments? They're very relaxing. They're very much. It goes with that whole self-care. You know,
Yeah.
I'm trying to check myself. I'm taking myself out of the working day, the working life, and allow myself just to relax. Even the video we have now, the dog is just
Dog's just chilling.
Yeah, he's just like, yep, gonna eat after
yeah.
this.
So is that so? Both of those instruments, are they something that you'd pick up if you feel that you're getting stressed or you're gonna have a bit of a rough time? Do you pick that up to de-stress yourself, or are they something that you would do to have fun? You're already jovial. You want to go and just release some energy, or a bit of both.
I prefer to just play my instruments than to watch TV. I'm not a TV person.
Mm-hmm.
But I tend to use it to zone out. Like I could, like after this, depending on the day I've had, I might just go home and because it's always I keep it on a drum stand, so it's always there. It's always accessible. So, yeah, like I've played it on clubhouse rooms. I've played it. I've brought it out with me once actually. I don't usually bring it places, but it was as part of it's Pride Month, LGBT Pride Month, and as part of like this campaign that I was involved in for Pride Month, which is going to be shown soon. Like I introduced my hand pan, like talking about relaxation and stuff, and what I do for self-care, and that's the only time that I've brought it out with me. And again, it's always had the same reaction. Anytime my friends come around or anything, they're just like, "Oh, what is that?"
I might get them for the
But it's
kids.
lovely.
Because as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And I'm now kicking myself that you didn't bring it along. It'd be nice for you to.
There's plenty of time to do a meet up, and I'll introduce you to Pan. I call it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. For me, I'm learning on that front.
So you say it's LGBT month?
Yeah,
Q
Pride Month.
It's
yeah.
Pride month. So what do you identify as? You are,
I'm lesbian.
So you're lesbian.
I'm proud lesbian.
and has that always been the case, or?
I've been out now for 2003. Right, here we go. Since we're in Northwest London, let me read this poem, yeah? I am free. Because it will tell you about my journey about coming out as a lesbian in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's on page 86. Yes, page 86. So, and we can talk about it, yeah?
Yep, go on.
Because I've got an interesting fun fact to tell you that I found out last week. Anyway, This poem's called I Am Free. I spent my teenage years listening to lyrics like Buju Banton's Boom Bye Bye in a batty boy head. What he's saying is that gay people should be shot in the head. Imagine that. Those lyrics were heard by millions. In those days, it never made me angry. In fact, I used to dance to it. I could name a few more. T.O.K., Elephant Man, Vibes Cartel. In the 90s, those tunes dominated the dance floor within my bedroom walls. In 1999, I married a man. Was I in denial? Threesome anyone? Yes, me, him and she. I came out as a lesbian in 2003. Looking back, all the clues were there, it's just me that couldn't see. People knew I was gay before me. It must have been the way I looked at my friend's auntie or the way I dressed and rebelled by shaving my head. Or maybe because I rode a moped. The truth is, I chose not to see. I was too afraid to be true to me. People were too judgmental back then. I cared way too much about what people thought and said. I met a girl who took me to a gay club. Those homophobic tunes were played by gay DJs in those gay clubs. What a headfuck. People I knew said they liked the beat and ignored the lyrics. I'm not sure exactly when or why something changed, but there was uproar. Buju and other bashment artists were banned. Us gays had taken a stand. Out with that shit. It was no longer acceptable to listen to it. I no longer had to listen to it. They say I'm an activist. It's been a process, all part of the journey. I'm free to finally be who I'm meant to be, loving living this reality within the LGBTQ plus community. My dysfunctional and disjointed family may not be proud of me, but I'm able to maintain my sanity and not let them get the better of me mentally. I'm going to take a bow because I'm happy now. I am free.
It's wonderful. No, that's wonderful. That is wonderful.
And
I
the
like
fun
that.
fact, yeah.
Go
Wait, let
for
me
it.
tell you about the fun fact, right? I was on a Zoom the other day, right? And I met this guy called Peter Tatchell. And he was talking about like decades of work that he's done in the LGBT community. And he was instrumental in getting Buju and other of those artists banned. Like he rallied around, like he's got a Peter Tatchell Foundation and like he got legislation changed, and like Buju and all of them, they lost millions of pounds, like because the concerts were booked ready for them to come, and it was him who like made that massive like U-turn in history, and it was just amazing. So like I was like, whoa, I had to send him a copy of my book. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure why or when something changed, but there was uproar. Like I knew there was something, but I didn't know who was the cause of it, like how it happened. And then to meet the man behind that activism, I was like really blown away by that.
Amazing.
Yeah, I recognise him.
Let me see. Because in the West Indian and African culture, it is frowned upon to a degree, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And
like I've experienced homophobia in Jamaica. I spent the first like formative years of my life growing up in Jamaica. Like when I was 1, my mom sent me there to live with my grandparents, and then I came back here when I was 7.
Okay.
So yeah.
Which is pretty normal, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
That used to happen a lot.
Well, yeah, it's my wife's family tend to do that.
Send someone back.
Well, yeah, they go back and then they come back here. So yeah, I think a fair few of them have done it. Jules didn't do it herself, but I think most of her brothers did. Yeah, and she's got a fair few of them.
It's a bit disruptive though. It's a bit disruptive.
But is it because
it's
of
like
the schooling system is the reason why they're sending them there? Because the schooling system, this is what I was told.
Well, I don't know. When I was younger, my real dad said to my mum, he's going to go and stay in the West Indies for X amount of time and then come back. And she said, no, he's staying with me.
Yeah.
And then whatever happened from there. But I mean, it was his decision as well, but it never happened.
Okay, because my grandmother was very much of the reason why people get sent back is for the education. The education system is supposed to be a lot better. You get better education, you get more discipline. You come back over here, you'll be smarter and you have better opportunities.
Yeah.
Most of the people I've known who've done that have not had better opportunities, but yeah. But I've always found that to be quite strange, and I always felt that was just like the people that I knew that happened to. But now you've said that, and you've said that, and I'm sitting there going, okay, that probably happens across the board. But yeah, strange.
It's not a good idea. Like, from my personal experience, I think mother and daughter bond is something that is really important. And yeah, like,
So
I don't know. I had a good time in Jamaica. I love my grandparents. They're no longer with us. And I'm happy for the woman I am today, because like I've got different sort of like values and upbringing, and that, you know, my peers who grew up over here just don't have.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know about it. I just think it's really difficult to have a bond with somebody who's meant to be really like your parents. If they're, because there's always that question in it, why did you send us away? And I know I've been a single parent. I've been a single parent myself, and I know it's difficult. I've understood a lot more about my childhood as I've become an adult and experienced life as well. But when you're young, it's hard to explain to a child like why you left them, because it is like abandonment, isn't it? Like,
yeah, no, we're in the same boat. I didn't grow up with my mum, so I know exactly where you're coming from. But just going back to, I'm sure we'll come back to this, but the 2003 and the coming out, is that one of the reasons why, on top of the abandonment from young age, that you don't have necessarily a great relationship with your mum? Was she okay when you came out? When did you realise that you wanted to do that, and why? And was there any obstruction to it?
I think I always knew I was gay. I went to a girls' school. I went to John Kelly, and I remember like there was an incident where two girls were kissing on the stairs, and they got really bullied. They got driven out of the school. And as well, in the 90s, I was listening to homophobic tunes. Like, I grew up in the church, so I was always in conflict, thinking, actually, this isn't right. Yeah. Like, whatever feelings I'm having, just like get rid of those. Like, get married, have a child, like live normally. But it was when I had my child that I was like, I don't want this. Like, I don't want this family. Like, this is not what I want. Mm-hmm. So I spoke to him, Renee's dad at the time, and he was like, okay, let's have a threesome, you know, as men do. And yeah, that's
no problem.
That kind of like that sort of cemented the decision. And then from then I just like found the LGBT community, to gay places, and met loads of black people who are gay. Like, it's really interesting, because go to a club called Bootylicious and you'll see guys that look just like you, and you wouldn't think they're gay. Like, because people have this perception that gay men are very camp and like they're very like, but not all gay men look like that. So,
well, yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't know.
Well, no, I would. I worked in not too far off Soho, so, and especially with being a personal trainer, you meet people from all walks of life.
I think
you have interesting conversations between people from all walks of life. So yeah, there's different types of guys, as you said.
Yeah.
There are the kind of over,
like, feminine.
Camp.
Yes, over camp guys. Then you have guys who are more, can I say, a beer type guys? That's
The
what type guys?
Okay, bear.
Yeah.
Well, one thing, right? So, what's a bear?
It's like a hairy, big guy.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like a come on, we're on camera.
No, I'm thinking. I'm learning.
People are watching. You're just going like this.
No, I'm thinking. I said, "What's a bear?" I'm asking. I'm listening. I'm looking.
Help me out. A bear chap,
like
rugged looking.
Right. Okay.
Not. Yeah. You wouldn't say this is a like a George Michael type guy. It's more of. I'm struggling to put
Zangief.
Not Zangief. Isn't it Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Street Fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Street Fighter.
The Zangief type guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Like that. That's the guy from Hangover, yes?
Yeah, the guy from Hangover.
Like the guy from Hangover, but maybe a bit more butch.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit more
There's
butch.
so many labels though. It's so problematic in the
well, that's what you have to.
LGBT
I'm
community.
treading very. Yeah,
there's
very
just
tiptoey.
so many labels.
Very tiptoey, but yeah, there's different. Same with women as well. You get
Yeah.
there's so many different types of Help me.
Yeah.
Throw me some rope. 'cause-
Like my
No,
partner.
you know what I'm saying? There's all different sorts of people.
yeah.
But it's the same with anything. You look at some people, when some people speak to me and I start preaching to them about ancient history and a load of waffle, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't think you would be into that," and I'm like, "Well, why not? People are people, aren't they?"
Yeah.
They're
And
each to their own.
of course, yeah. And I think for me, it's embrace it. You know, let everyone be who they are. And if they want to,
I think it's
enjoy themselves, enjoy
fantastic
stuff.
that like we live in a country where being gay is not punishable by death, you know.
Yes.
Because that's like, you go to some places, I think, I don't know the number, the figures, but it's like in 72 countries, like there's legislation that is like that you can die.
Get stoned and thrown off roofs and stuff.
Yeah.
still doing that now?
They still do that now,
Wow, that's tough.
Yeah, it's
man.
about 72 countries. Like, it's shocking.
which is
That's tough.
scary because my sister's lesbian, and it's to think, so to think that would happen to someone that I love,
Yeah.
just because of the way she is, and she's normal to me, doesn't make any sense. You can't get your head around it.
Yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
crazy. So
crazy.
when you so one of the questions in part of that long question was, did that cause any conflict between you and your mother? Was that one of the reasons, or?
No, when I came out, she was just like, "Oh, what's next with you now? Like, what's next?" It was like okay, because like I was always one of those children that was very like not children, but when I was a teenager, I was very like independent, even though I lived at home. Like, I bought my first moped when I was like 16, as soon as I got my provisional, and I was like out and about. Like, at that time, there was no girls on a moped. You know, by the time I was 17, I took myself off to Jamaica and then brought back a Jamaican when I was 18. Like, I was very young, like doing all this big womanish stuff. So it was like, it's not a surprise for her. She was just like, "Oh, what's next with you?" That's exactly what she said. Like, because it's just, yeah.
Did she see it as more of an attention thing?
No, she
No.
was just like, she did say, "Oh yeah, this is a phase. You probably grow out of it." It's a bloody long phase, isn't it? Yeah, but no, that's not been the bone of contention between me and my mom. Her husband was the one who sexually abused me when I was a child, and that's been really difficult because it's.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I didn't catch, because I was just referring to something that I wanted to ask you. I didn't just catch what you said.
Yeah, no, I actually just said like the reasons why I've got difficulties with my mom is because her husband
Right. Okay.
sexually abused
Yeah,
me.
I
when
didn't know
was
if
a
you said your
child.
mum or the husband.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, her husband, and she was always in conflict because she loved her husband, and like, yeah. Anyways, so the thing is, she was the one who saw him abusing me, and she was the one who called the police. He was arrested. She went to see him in prison.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was very difficult because she was always at conflict
Between the two.
between-
So she
and it's like, actually, I was a child. Like, that's your husband. Like,
You should be
this-
on my side.
what that would do to your head. So she's done the right
Yeah.
thing by calling the authorities, but then she hasn't made that disconnection, and you
No.
you can see that she's maintaining the relationship with him.
She kept that quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a time when she was seen with him in her car in Neasden Shopping Centre when he came out of prison. And it was weird because her friend, I found out because her friend called the house phone, you know, back then when we had house phones. And I was because I was 10 when he went to prison. And I was about 13 when he came out of prison. And her friend rang the house and she was like, "Oh, I met your stepdad in Easton Shopping Centre." I was like, "Huh?" Like, I was just shocked. Like, because prior to that, what had happened was my mom we had this cupboard under the stairs where she would keep the Christmas tree, and all sorts of junk would be in that cupboard under the stairs. And I was in there looking for something, and I found this wooden box that was made out of matchsticks. It was a heart-shaped box, and it was like inscripted with some stuff from him, and he had made it for her in prison.
Okay.
And like, I totally destroyed that box. Like, I stamped all over it in the kitchen and just left it there on the floor in pieces. And she came home and we had a massive argument about it. She didn't even seem remorseful or anything that she's accepting gifts from him. And then, like, roll on a few years, and then when her friend called and said that she saw him in her car, I was like, that turned a corner for me. Like, that just made me just go off the rails. Like, I started smoking, drinking vodka, like doing all sorts, because I was just like, I just couldn't understand. Like you're supposed to be my mom. Like, not only did you send me away when I was a child, but now, like, at the crucial time, you're just not fit to be a mom. Like, so it's just, yeah, so we've always had that hanging over us. It's been like this really dark cloud, and we haven't been able to look past it, because even, like, you know, when I went Jamaica and that, later on in life, let's just cut a long story short, like, years later, we had another argument, and she said, "What are you doing? Copying my life? Like, you," because she went Jamaica and got a man from Jamaica. That was where he was from. And she was like, I married a Jamaican, you married a Jamaican. I worked for the NHS, you worked for the NHS. You did this, I did this, you did this. Like, what are you doing? Copying my life. You've got this side bit at the side of your house. Like, I've got a side bit at the side of my house. I was like, this woman is just a nightmare. Like, when I drew the line at this side bit at the side of your house, because now I'm just thinking, hang on a minute.
This is petty.
You're just difficult.
Yeah.
You're difficult.
So when was the last time you spoke to her?
I spoke to her on the 6th of December, 2020.
And you've never had the conversation about, let's get everything, sweep it under the carpet?
Because it was always difficult. Like, in 2019, I thought to myself, do you know what? Like, my daughter, because I've got a daughter who's 19 now, and over the years I've always tried to, like, make them have a relationship, and it just hasn't worked, because, like, they just don't know each other for that to work. And, like, in 2019 I decided that, like, I would take my mom on holiday. So I paid for her to go to Amsterdam, because she said that she's never been there before. And like, I'm not proud of this, but I gave her a brownie, I guess, just so that she'd be a bit looser, so that I can talk to her about stuff.
Did she know you gave her one?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, we had these brownies together, just so that she could, but I purposely tried to make her have more than me, just so that we could talk, like, because I've never been able to have that conversation with her, because she doesn't talk. She keeps everything buried in, like. And so anyways, that didn't happen. We started talking and she started crying. So then, and that always happens, like, she cries because she doesn't know what else to do, and then there's nowhere else I can go with that. So I went back to my hotel room, and then that holiday just went a bit south from there. And then in December 2019, because it was around October that we went on holiday, and then it was around December, 6th of December, I phoned her up and I said, like, New Year's is coming, I'm gonna leave my job and I'm gonna go into 2020 speaking my truth. Like, you might not be ready to speak about this stuff, but I need to speak about it because it's closure for me. Like, I just need to get it all off my chest. And by the way, like, it's out there anyway, because I've got this poem on the Survivors Trust website, and I sent her the poem. And then we spoke about it, and she was just like, she said, it's always been difficult for her, because she never understood why I never told her what was happening.
Okay.
And I'm just, it's just really difficult, because I'm like, hang on a minute, I was a child. Like, there was no way that I would have been able to articulate what was happening. But because I've always been very outspoken. So I was always one of those children I had a lot of chat. Like, I was always like back chatty, like, so she just didn't understand that I couldn't tell her that was happening. She was like, why? And I'm just like, at this point, Mum, like, you still blame me. Like, you're asking me as a big woman now, because at that time I was 39. And you're asking me, like, why I didn't tell you at the age of between 5 and 10 that was happening to me. Like, I didn't have the words to tell you what was happening.
Is she still with the fella, or was that?
No, I wouldn't know, actually.
Okay.
I wouldn't know, because she's been very like alone, like, in her life. Like, we never, apart from my grandparents, we never really got to know any of the other family, because she always kept us separate from them. So yeah, so I've never really had like many people around and stuff. But anyway, like, I was just like, I'm going into 2020, I'm speaking my truth. And then she says to me, well, I'm going to need some time to think about what you've said.
Yep.
And then January came, February came, March came. She didn't contact me. We went into a national lockdown. She didn't contact me. And then I was just like, this woman really doesn't care. Like, she can't. Because, like, I've just told her we've had this conversation. I'm telling her what I'm going to do. And she's decided just to ignore the situation and maybe hope that it will go away. And it hasn't gone away, because I was even more determined to speak my truth. So I named him. I've named my abuser in my book. And I'm allowed to do that because he went to prison and served
so
time.
it's public records,
So then when I got the test copies of the book, I sent her a copy in the post, and she sent me an email. So this is in July now, so this is 7 months on. Like, this was July 2020. She sent me an email saying, hip hip hooray, congratulations, I've received your book. And I had like a Poetry LGBT merch. I quite like merch as well. I've got a little open mic night called Poetry LGBT. So I put a pen, a Poetry LGBT pen, and a shopping trolley coin in there. So she said, I've received your book and your trolley coin key ring. Hip hip hooray. As for me, you make me feel like shit.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was just like, that's it now. That's the end. That's the end. That is the end. There is no way that I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to get any information out of this woman about anything. I'm not trying to make her accept me in any way. I'm done now. I'm done. Like, what can I do now? Like, there's just no, like, I've come to a point where I'm at this sort of like place where, like, I don't know, where acceptance, let's call it acceptance. I've accepted that this relationship is done.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's tough. Me just listening to that, it's tough, because
it's really difficult.
I'm quite close to my parents, and I would, it's tough. Just listening to that now, I'm just kind of going, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I think you've done the right thing in terms of the book. It's a release. It's also, it's a great way of inspiring others, because I'm sure there's so many others that are probably going through or have gone through similar breakdowns between mother and daughter and father, and it's actually good to be able to read that back to yourself, and you realize I'm not alone. So that for me is powerful. I'm normally loud and spoken, but that's made me really somber and
no, I think
and quite sad.
It is
to
sad.
say it is, because I'm more a firm believer of that. People come round and realize, it takes time, but they realize where they've gone wrong or they've done something wrong, and they step up to par. What you've said there, I was hoping we was going to get to a point where you go, you know what, phone rang, and we had a conversation. We went for lunch.
I waited.
And she
and
broke
waited.
down.
You never know. Listen, don't wait for it.
It may happen.
But it might happen.
Yeah, it may
Yeah.
happen. But it's just for me, I was waiting for that moment.
Yeah.
I was hoping that you was going to say July 2020. We went for coffee, and we just talked. You know, we
Yeah.
just.
But you can't wait. You need to crack on.
Oh, no, you got to
Yeah.
move on.
yeah,
Life's
doing
got-
what you're
goes
doing, and
forward.
then the stars may align, and then she comes back, and then you've got a decision to make. Then whether you
let into the family fold.
if you want to let her in. But it's talk to me a bit about the open mic nights.
Yeah, the
that you
open
said.
mic
So
night,
what's
poetry
happened?
LGBT.
Yeah, with regards to lockdown, have you been doing anything online with
Yeah,
that?
we've been online.
Yeah,
So since
okay.
June last year, we've been regularly online on Zoom. Poetry LGBT started in January 2015, so we're into our 6th year now, and of creating that space. And it's just a fantastic space for the LGBT community to, I was going to say LGBT people, the LGBT community, to come together and just be creative and express themselves through creativity and expression. Like, LGBT people experience all sorts through family issues and like persecution from society. Like, we need that space to be able to be creative. It's not all about just getting drunk and like
Sleeping
taking
around.
drugs and sleeping around. Like, we have to like write about what we feel and what we go through and stuff, because it's difficult.
So where was the venue when you had it? Have you ever had a venue?
We was in Tipsy Bar in Hackney.
Mm-hmm.
It was in a basement bar. Because of accessibility, we were there for 4 years, but then more and more people wanted to come, that we just needed to make it accessible. So we're now in the Two Brewers in Clapham,
Okay.
which is actually a well-known gay venue, and that's a bit of tricky, because like there's a lot of people. When it was in Tipsy Bar in the basement,
Mm-hmm.
it was very like underground. Like, people could come and it's on Dalston Kingsland Road, so it's like people would come down. There's no sort of like pride flag outside,
Yeah.
or no like
You had to know
fanfare.
about it.
You'd have to know about it to be there, and it was very much a space where we could just be free and express ourselves. Whereas now it's in this like loud and proud gay venue. It's like it might actually deter some people from coming, because not everybody's out, and like we have a lot of people of color who attend. And not everyone's out, so they might not want to be seen like walking into a gay venue. So we've had one event there. And prior to that, we were in another gay venue, and that was one of the feedback that I received, that because it's so
Open.
openly gay, it's too obvious.
Okay.
So we need to find another venue that is accessible, that's free as well, that we don't have to pay for, that's quite discreet.
When's the next
Yeah.
one?
Okay.
Did you have it
The next
scheduled?
one,
Or?
yes, it's first Sunday of every month. So
Okay.
the next one's on the 6th of June, which is this Sunday at 5 o'clock on Zoom. And you can find the details on Eventbrite and OutSavvy.
Okay. We'll definitely be looking into that.
When you go back to a bar,
Yeah.
I might come with my sister.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
I will come with my sister and her friends.
I'm planning an event, a one-off, because I don't want to go back to like monthly events right now, because we don't know what's going to happen when flu season comes around in September. So I don't want to like put on anything big and then have to cancel it. So I might put on something in August,
Yeah.
a one-off event, and then see how we get on, and then maybe in January next year go back to being in a physical live space.
Okay.
The online ones are just as good, to be honest, and we get people all over the world coming to
imagine.
the event. So it's a really good space. But yeah, definitely bring your sister. She'll love it.
Yeah, no, she will love that. I remember. No,
She may have been already.
No,
You
she
don't
might have
even
been
know.
already. She won't mind me sharing this either, but just like going back to coming out and stuff, because it's just you know, and people know.
Yeah.
And I always remember she was just like, "Can I come and meet you on my lunch break?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool, come."
Yeah.
And then we were sat in my car on my lunch break, and she was like, "I've got something to tell you." And I was like, "Yeah, go on." And then she told me, and I was like, "I know." Do you know what I mean? Like, I know. Like, did you come all this way to tell me that?
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, all right." And then that was that. It was just like, cool. It's it's normal, which is why like the whole discrimination side of it, I really don't get it. I don't, but maybe that's more because people have an issue within themselves.
Yes, that's
and then
they project on others.
They project that onto you.
And people think about sex straight away when they think about gay relationships. Like that's all we do, or that's like how do we do it? Like it's just like I've been in a relationship now for 8 years. You know, we've got a mortgage together. We've brought up Renee together. Renee's 19 now. Like we're just like any other family. Like
it's love, isn't it?
Family stuff.
Of course
it's
it's
just
love.
love.
Yeah,
exactly.
of course it is.
Like,
but I think what's
so
cool now
different?
is that we've got massive movements in terms of inclusion and diversity.
Yeah.
Everything is being pushed, which is good. And I think that's good because it's allowing people to just be themselves, you know,
Yes, just be
enjoy
yourself.
life without having worries or fears that someone's going to knock down your door and threaten you or anything like that. You can actually just be yourself.
Just be yourself.
And I think it's good. For me, I'm more power for it. I think just enjoy life, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy life, embrace it, have fun because you have one life.
Exactly. That's exactly what I say because it
Don't steal
does
my
stuff.
line.
It does stuff
It's
to
a
the
joke.
body, you know, to hold in like
Of course
who
it
you
does.
are,
Yeah, of course it
because
does.
you're constantly like
Yeah, and in some cases, people are living double lives. You know.
Yeah,
I had
exactly.
a number of teachers at school who they would then go bars and stuff, and friends would say, "Oh, you know, I saw this guy dressed up as a woman or that," and you're kind of going, "No, you're talking rubbish," because you've seen him with his wife. But I'm sure he probably wanted to leave that relationship years ago, and he didn't want to go through all the trials and tribulations. Didn't what's the guy who's on ITV?
Michael Barrymore.
No, not
Oh,
Michael
no.
Barrymore.
That's when the penny dropped for me.
He's with
Philip Schofield.
Holly
Yes.
Willoughby. Yeah, Philip Schofield.
There was rumours about him for years
Yeah.
before he came out.
I think it's a bit different though in the industry because they might not want it to come out because of the perception that the public have. 2.4 children,
Yeah.
wife, you know? So they want to just maintain that.
But then for me, I see it as you're setting an example anyway, and you're setting an example of you can embrace who you are
Yeah.
and don't worry about people around you. You
Exactly.
know?
You
That's
can
the
make your
example.
own chosen family.
Yes.
Like you can, there's life after like coming out and speaking your truth. Like
course.
there's life after that. Like it's not all rosy and easy. Like you don't just speak your truth and run off to the sunset and be happy. There's challenges.
Yeah, no, of course, because
But-
we've got a cousin, and he's on my mum's side, and I think we all know he's gay, but my grandparents and people like that are very much of no, he's not. Did this, and for me, it's like we all know anyway. So what's the problem? You know, he's cool. He's a lovely guy, really lovely guy, but he doesn't get invited to certain events because of that. And you're kind of going, that for me, family should always come first, regardless. You know, unless you've murdered someone and stuff like that, then I get it's slightly different. But you should always be embraced. You should always be shown love, and it's all about support. And it doesn't seem to be the case, and that's probably the West Indian culture being like
definitely.
that. And I'm hoping that will change as the years go on, and a lot of that generation, no disrespect to them, but their views die out when they cross over, and it becomes more of we embrace who you are. You know, we support you. We're on the journey.
Yeah, it's you said something earlier as well about sex is the first thing that people think about, and everybody's sleeping with everybody.
Yeah.
But that wasn't helped by TV either.
No, because you can see it in programs.
EastEnders is a great example. They might have a lesbian on there
Yeah.
or a gay man on there, and it's kind of like whenever they meet someone new, you're like, oh, okay, how long before they
Yeah.
try it with them? Like it's just you got to watch out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what they pushed on there. But it's starting to change a little bit now. But taking the knee in football with regards to racism, LGBTQ plus, and everything, religion, online. The gatekeepers, if you want to put it that way,
Yeah.
are changing. So they are people like us. They look like us. They are like us. And they're the ones that are now making a difference whereby you say something you shouldn't say.
Oh, they shoot down.
You're
on
gonna
it.
get
Yeah,
pulled up
yeah,
on it.
completely.
So have you noticed that a lot more? And there's still, is it?
I think people have got to the point now where it's like you could be too PC. People are not sure about what's to say to offend. Like, yeah, I don't know. We just need to have more dialogue, more conversation, more open conversations like this, and more just like normalize conversations, you know, rather than, because some people are really scared to offend people or don't really understand certain things, and just rather than just not talk about it, they hold their views, and that doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help anything. I think it's best to, like, if you had a difference of opinion, let's have a talk about it and see where those views came from.
We discuss it,
and have a discussion. Exactly.
Agreed. No, for me, I think it's education. I
Yeah.
think, but you are right. It's because I find I do that with subjects all the time, where I end up tipping toe around stuff rather than just asking the question straight out and just saying boom, boom, boom. And then you get an answer, and then we can have a back and forth, and then at least I can then say, okay, it's off my chest, rather than I'm always now holding this. And I remember, if I see you again now, I've got to be careful not to bring it up again, rather than let's just talk about it.
Just have a conversation.
I think that we'll get to that stage. I think TV will change, like you said. Radio will change, and we will be able to then have more conversations. I watched the Brit Awards the other night.
I didn't see it.
Didn't you see it?
No.
And that was diversity, inclusion 100, you know, from the start to the finish. And I think that was good, because it puts ideas in people's minds. It allows people to ask questions. I had my mum asking me questions and stuff, and I think it's good, because then you're always learning, you know. Same with the was it LGBT, help me with the others. Q
I
A
Hey?
wasn't it? No, there's another one, isn't it? Because A
yeah, like asexual.
asexual.
What's asexual?
I think asexual is when,
I'm gonna Google it,
yeah,
because we
please
had to do this at work thing.
Yeah,
And
I think it's when you don't have sex.
What I heard, what did I hear the other day?
I'm not sure.
QIA. Let's. Oh, I've got.
Oh, look at that.
I've got no internet.
You've got no internet?
No, the internet's gone.
Right, here we go.
Pansexual. What's pansexual?
All genders.
Yeah, pansexual is when you fall in love with the person rather than their gender or sexual identity.
Okay.
So that could be...
A guy, it could be a woman.
Well, no, I watched one, it wouldn't be pansexual, it would have a different name for it, but yeah, it would have been like Late Night Bravo, and the guy fell in love with his car.
Sex with cars.
Yeah, he fell in love with his car. I loved his car.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that. That's a rough program. I don't know if
I've
that's
never
exhausting.
seen
You've never seen that?
Sorry for the pun. Man.
Yeah.
I said it's exhausting.
Yeah. Rough program. But no, I don't think that would be pansexual.
No, pansexual is all genders.
Yeah, it wouldn't be pansexual. But
yeah.
I think it's education. See, education, because even now we're talking, I'm trying to understand and then see if I can then relate it to maybe a story that I've heard in the news or whatever. But I'm trying to get my head around it, and I think that's what we need. We need more conversations. We need more workshops. We need more, inclusion.
Definitely.
Let's have a look here. So I just want to go back to your book again.
Oh yeah.
So who's it published by?
It's published by Team Angelica Publishing. It's run by two gay guys, John Russell Gordon and Ricky Beadle Blair, and I'm not sure how long Team Angelica's been around for actually, but they've got books in Gaze the Word bookshop.
Okay.
In central London. My book is in Gaze the Word. That's where I had my launch actually. We did it, I was physically in the venue, but we did it on Zoom.
So one of my questions was it's like goals and stuff. So was it a goal of yours to write a book and get it published, or is that something that just fell into your path and you were like, you know what, I'm going to do that?
Yeah.
And then
lockdown, because I had left my job in December to go into the new year to be this inspirational speaker, not knowing how or why or what I was doing. And then lockdown happened and it was like, oh my God, did I make a mistake? Like, I should have stayed in my job. I was the occupational health business manager at the Whittington, and it was, band 7 job, and that I was quite happy, and decent pay and whatnot. So going into lockdown and not having an idea of what I was doing was a bit disappointing. But then lots of opportunities have happened. Like I used that time to gather up my poems and put them in this book. I also created this initiative for children in struggling families, where I fundraised and created with my daughter 200 birthday boxes and delivered them to food banks around 3 different London boroughs, Waltham Forest, Haringey and Hackney, just to give a child a birthday box during the lockdown period, because when you're in a struggling family, like celebrating your child's birthday is probably going to be lost on the agenda when you got to think about how you're going to put food on the table and stuff in that pandemic situation. So it was lovely. It was a really nice initiative. We handed out 200 boxes and it gave me something to do, and it also like reminded me of like how creative I am and how resilient I am and stuff like that. And since then I've gone on to do loads, and I've had loads of opportunities as a result of like having a book published and stuff, because people have that as like a bucket list to do. I've met loads of people who, you know, want to be published and stuff, but no, it wasn't my lifelong ambition to, because I got into poetry just to write about my feelings, like I was telling you, and getting it in the book was just something to do during lockdown.
But then, so blasé, it was just something to do, and now you're sitting there with a published book.
Yeah,
I know.
But then, do you know what?
Great.
I say that, yeah, but then I've looked at a poem the other day called Self-Doubting, and it does say, like, one day, something like, I'll one day reach my goal to heal the nation with stories I hold waiting to be told. My truth is pure, unrelenting gold that needs to be shared before I get old. And I was like, maybe that was me saying, actually, I do want it in a book.
Maybe so, yeah.
Day. Do you know
You have to get it out there, yeah.
But when I wrote this, because remember, this is a collection of over 7 years of poetry. So at some point when I wrote that one, I must have thought in the back of my head somewhere that I want to share my stuff at some point. And the only way really is in a book, really, to reach more people. So even though I didn't I didn't write down that as a goal, maybe that was in my subconscious. Yeah, maybe. From way back.
That's it. What are the you must have got more goals now.
Yeah.
What's the plan going forward?
What's the plan going forward?
I don't know, because I do have more goals, but they're more like, they're personal goals, like they're well-being goals. I want to also provide my self-care writing workshops to schools and especially to like sixth form and like the last year of school. Just to teach well-being and self-care, because I think if young people learn self-care from an early age, that will really help them as they go along in life. So I'd like to do that, because at the moment I just deliver my self-care writing workshops to small charities. So I think one goal would be like to just be in a school and then replicate that in all different schools all over. Yeah. I don't know. What else? Because I'm very like, I don't know, I'm very like economical. Like I don't have like goals to have a big house and a big car. That's not my goals. Like my goals are just like on a deeper level to connect with people and like share ideas and reach more people with my book. Because so many people have read the book and like felt inspired to start writing as something that they do as their form of self-care. And that's really powerful, because you don't have to be a qualified writer to write, you know. You can write down how you feel. And it's really powerful.
The last bit that you read just a second ago sounded like a song almost. So do you write songs as well?
No,
or
I've never written a song, but
you could do some of that as well.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? That could be the next thing.
That, yeah, because one time I read my poem and someone said to me, that sounded like a rap. But didn't they say that poetry is like rap slowed down or something like that?
Oh yeah, it's it is. It all makes sense. I'm on your what are we on here? I'm on National Diversity Awards.
Oh yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So the National Diversity Awards, I was shortlisted in 2020. I got an email saying that I was shortlisted, and I was like, this is fantastic. So yeah, the ceremony is going to be in the Liverpool Anglican Cathedral. It was supposed to be in September last year, then they moved it to February, then they moved it to April, and now it's going to be in September this year. And they've said that if it doesn't happen like in the physical space, it will happen online.
Yeah.
But they've tried their best to not let it happen online. So hopefully September will come round and...
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says, I'm just reading through it now, so Positive Role Model Award for LGBT. We've touched on the mental health and the stuff that happened in your childhood. And it also says homelessness.
Yeah, I've been homeless a few times in my life. I was homeless when I was a child as well. I remember me, my mum and my brother sleeping in the car. Yeah, because like I said, my mum was a single parent, so she tried her best. Yeah, and then the other times I was homeless is because when I decided to bring this Jamaican over and move into my mom's house thinking I'm this big woman, Mom didn't like it. He was there with us for like 3 months or so, and she was like, no, you have to go now, because like I haven't had a man living in the house, so it's just not right for you, like even though you're 18 and that, it didn't feel right for her to have my boyfriend living in the house and sleeping in the same bed and stuff like that. So she basically made me homeless. So I was homeless then.
Did he go with you?
Yeah, that's how I ended up leaving North West London and going to Walthamstow, because at that time all of my friends lived at home with their parents or their family, so I couldn't just be, with my 6-foot Jamaican man go and stay at my friend's house. Do you know what I mean? So he had an uncle, he's dead now, but he had an uncle that lived in Walthamstow, and Uncle Bert, and we went to his house and stayed there. Okay. And that's how I ended up, his son, Bert's son, Terry, came in a van and picked us up and all our stuff and went to Walthamstow, and we didn't look back.
No, that's cool.
But then we had some bits of homelessness there because it's difficult. Because when you're a child, because I was 18, I was an adult, but I was still a child, I think, trying to be grown. I don't know. So we had so many different challenges. But yeah, that's all history now because I've got a mortgage. Let's hope I'm not homeless now.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's another goal that you've achieved.
Keep a roof over my head. That's what I need to do.
I enjoyed being homeless. I say that. Well, I wasn't homeless because I had a roof over my head, but I was in the YMCA. And I remember that getting up to mischief in there, but it felt like a long holiday, like a boys' club where it was just stay up late.
Breakfast, it didn't feel like that at all, man.
It's horrible.
No, I remember it. It was in Tottenham, this bed and breakfast, and they used to, like, every Monday outside the door, because it looked like a house from the outside, and then like you go in, and then each door has a number. And then that's your living quarters. And someone used to come around every Monday and leave 6 eggs, a little coffee, sugar, bread, and milk outside the door every single Monday. And that was what they provided for breakfast.
Wow.
And by the end of my stay there, I had like loads of these little jars of coffee because I didn't drink coffee. But yeah, it wasn't fun.
You could have sold those.
I don't even know what I did with them. I think I gave them to the other people in the house, in their little rooms.
Start a little side hustle. I think during the
could have opened a shop with all that stuff that I collected.
During lockdown, I think my mother-in-law, she needs to go to hospital for a few things, but she lives on her own, so she was getting care packages.
Yeah.
That coming in during lockdown.
I think that's brilliant that they did that.
Yeah, it's amazing. But she got so much freeze-dried coffee. Yeah. And she knows I like coffee. Yeah. So she was like, I'll just take them to John. Yeah. So I ended up with like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 packets of them. Yeah. I think they're still in the cupboard now. But it's like, what do you do with it all?
Gift them to a food bank.
I'm gifting to a food bank. We take a lot of stuff to the charity shop anyway. But I don't think they're going to want Coffee, yeah. I'll take them to a food bank. I think that's what I'll do. What else have I got going on? I've got so much stuff that I'd written down to ask you. I put when you were mentioning earlier, because when I said that I saw you on Jeremy Vine.
Oh yeah.
So what was some of the other stuff that you did when you were on TV? And have you had any discussions with anybody now?
Yeah.
Or have you done anything with regards to television and your book and getting the wider message out there?
No. I am currently in the process of filming a weight loss show.
Okay.
So I can't really say too much about it right now, but I've got the support of a top psychologist in the UK and a dietitian, and they're helping me on a journey to lose weight because so I've shared my story by letting people know that when I was younger, I started smoking, yeah. So the smoking kept my weight down. In 2009, I quit smoking and I replaced the smoking with eating. So since 2009, I've just slowly increased in weight. So now I'm like massively overweight. So, and the emotional eating was a result of dealing with my stuff that I kept to myself because the sexual abuse, I didn't speak to anybody about it. It wasn't until like 2019 that I first spoke about it after all these years. So that eating kind of like suppressed it and pushed it down. Like, I don't know how to explain that, but now that I've spoken my truth and I've got a weight off my shoulders, I'm ready now to lose weight. Yep. So I'm being supported on this Channel 4 program that's going to be out. Is it
Britain's Fattest People?
No. And it's a brand new show.
Okay.
And it's not about fat shaming or anything like that. It's about a lifestyle change. And it's more about self-care, to be honest. Because
the reason why I say that, because I was on a TV show, how many years back now? 2017, similar concept. So you had a psychotherapist, a nutritionist, and then a PT, which was me. And I trained a man who was 41 stone. So over the course of, I think, 7 months, I went to Birmingham, Dudley, and we did the whole journey of getting him used to changing the lifestyle. The therapist was working on the issues he had, because I think he had issues with his mum and dad and bullied, and there was some sexual abuse going on that front. But we went on the whole journey, and what you just said there sounds similar to the show that I was on. But yeah, it would be a great experience. You're gonna have a fantastic time, and what's good with it is you get to have those conversations where it helps you make the adjustments going forth, so you don't revert back into that same pattern again.
And learn and understand about food and nutrition and all of that. Like, it's come at a time where I'm ready, because I've tried loads of other fad diets. Did you apply for it or? I applied for it.
Okay.
I applied for it, and then I got selected. And then I changed my mind because I had to strip down onto my underwear.
Okay.
And I was just like, I don't think I'm comfortable doing that on national TV. So I changed my mind, and then they called me back and they were like, we really, really want you on this show. And then I thought about it, and I thought, well, I'm already like laying myself bare with my words. Like, how much more difficult is it going to be to, like, for the whole nation to see me in my underwear? Like, come on, Andreena, you can do this. And then I just plucked up the courage and thought, it's all part of speaking my truth, so it's all part of the same thing. So it's just come at the right time.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I look forward to watching it. I look forward to viewing.
I'm on Amazon now, and so I'm looking at your book.
You're buying a copy for Mike and for Eugene?
I've got a copy in my bag.
Oh my God, look at
there
this.
You go, see?
Look at this.
Yeah.
Right, no, but I was thinking...
I've come with...
Because I was going to buy it. You read 2 poems from it, and I already sat down and I'm going, I can relate to, as I said, writing those journals and stuff. And
yeah.
I've got something like that you can do.
What can you do?
So you can... Is your book on Audible?
No, I do want an audio book.
Get it on Audible.
Yeah.
With your hand
I was going
pan.
to give it to you for free.
With your
but
hand
I do
pan.
have a card reader, so I do take card payments.
Well, I'll pay for it.
So
Yeah, I'll pay
supporting
for it,
the
man.
arts and all of that. So, There's my.
I was going to give it to you
my
for
card
free, but I
reader.
bought my card reader with me.
Wait a second, I stopped for a second.
Yeah.
I heard card reader. I was like,
Yeah,
wait a second.
exactly.
We were getting free books.
I'm a
do you know what?
hustler, I'm a hustler.
That's the thing that they do at football, because all the lads turn up on the weekend and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, do you know what? I forgot my money again. And they're like, well,
and they bring the
there's a card reader there, bro.
Wow.
No man, I've got my card reader. I bring my books everywhere, and I bring my card reader everywhere.
No, that's
yeah.
good. That's good.
Because like I could give it to you for free,
Yes.
but then like I also want you to support the arts as well. So and I'll think about it. By the end of this, I'll think about it.
Think about.
Well, no, I'll pay for it. Don't worry about that.
We can pay. Yeah, no, it's fine. We can pay.
Yeah.
I'll get
We
two. I'll
got
get
books
one for
last time
me.
for free, but we can pay.
Yeah, I'll get one for my sister.
Buy two, get one free.
It's a
there you
joke.
go.
Buy two, get one free.
Buy
So
two,
yeah,
get one
my
free.
idea was your book on Audible
Yeah.
with your handpan
Oh wow.
That'd be
as
nice.
well, and the other one, what was it called?
Kalimba.
And with the kalimba,
Yeah.
and then you can almost have it as like a sleep therapy as well.
Yeah, that can work. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Like, give me the card reader, and I'm just going to charge you for that that idea. Okay, all right. So we're working
That's
like
a
that.
free book for that nugget of information. Yeah, you just earned your free book.
There we go, man.
Yeah, because it's about trade, isn't it, and bartering and like.
No, of course. We'll buy the book.
Hustling, yeah.
I'll buy a book. My card is.
No, but I
No,
think
whatever,
it's yeah, it's. I mean, to have anything like that, once you see it out there and available, because I mean, I do. Not that I do it in a great deal, but I do Amazon seller,
Amazon Marketplace.
Amazon Marketplace, yes,
Yeah.
but with books
Okay.
from charity shops and stuff like that. Always feels a bit naughty because you get the book for like 50p and you sell it for
Yeah.
however much.
It's smart. That's it.
Yeah, it's smart,
smart.
but that you get a great deal of satisfaction just from doing that. So I mean, when you actually see yourself on Amazon, like that
Yeah.
must just be such a great feeling.
It's such a great feeling seeing myself on my own bookshelf because
Mm-hmm.
my
Yeah.
partner Jermaine, she's very much into books, and we've got like tons of books, and like I've got a book on the collection.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Wonderful.
So it's a really proud thing to know that my words are out there, and that it is resilience in the face of adversity. Like people read my stuff and they contact me and they're like, wow, you know, thank you so much for sharing. Like I've been through that too. Like
Yeah.
the amount of people that have told me that they have been sexually abused and I've been the first person they've told, that's a lot.
I can imagine. So, are you planning to do another book there after this one?
No.
That's it.
Yeah, I don't want another book. I really don't. Like, no, I don't. I thought about this and I just thought, like, this book needs time to do the work that it's meant to do.
Yep.
And it's such a powerful book, and I'm not just saying that because it's my book, but there's so much healing and power in this book that if I was to just fling it down and think, right, that's an art project, that's done, and what's next, I think there's lots of people who are gonna miss out. And I
Because you
think,
can keep pushing that
yeah,
one.
No, I mean the opposite. Like, if I don't carry on focusing on this, if I leave this and start something new, like, this doesn't reach that many people, because if you're not pushing it, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, this book has a lot of work to do, and it doesn't matter how old it gets, because I think it's really problematic, yeah, that artists are just expected to churn stuff out over and over and over because things get old really quickly, and then
Something
everyone
fresh.
wants something new and something fresh. But actually, like, this is like things that have happened to me. This is my life. So it's not as easy to just like just think, oh yeah, that's done and dusted now, what's next? Because that's, I don't know.
No, I get it. I
kinda
get it.
just
Well, I think
diminishes
the
what-
next step would be similar to what Jenny said, in
Yeah.
terms of you work on the audio, you add in the instruments as well,
Yeah.
and that allows a new audience to then take on the book.
It does, because
A lot of people that don't necessarily read. I said don't read, but people don't read.
No,
anymore,
people
you know?
don't.
Some people are very much they're just very much. I'm so busy. I'm happy to listen to it.
struggle to read as well,
Yeah.
like myself.
Do you?
No, I don't struggle to read.
You get bored.
I don't get bored. I get tired.
Okay.
But I think that's because of the eye movement.
yeah.
There are
And-
opportunities though.
Opportunities.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go on.
There are opportunities, because I just remembered as you were talking, I remembered that I did this thing called the coming out as a black lesbian in 5 acts, and it was like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, Act 5. It was for London Metropolitan University, and it was during LGBT History Month in February, just gone, and someone was just like, I love that, we should make that into a play. Like that should be a play, the journey of a black lesbian in 5 acts or something like that it was called. And so there are opportunities. So making it a podcast and stuff like that, or making it a discussion piece, or like,
there's so much you can do with it, and it's
course,
just
yeah,
the
it's
momentum,
loads.
isn't it? It's just to keep
Yeah.
moving forward. But the reason that I mentioned Audible is because for me, the accessibility of that is so when I'm working in my day job,
It's in the background.
I'm driving, like I'm on the road all the time,
yeah.
and I have it on in the car, and that's where I find I take in so much information.
Do you know what? I'm so mindful that Jermaine's probably been outside for a really long time.
No, that's
and
fine,
I
that's
totally
fine.
forgot
Oh,
about
there we
her.
go. All good. Do you want to pause for a second?
Yeah, let's pause for a minute.
That's the celeb life, mate. That's, she's like, oh, my girlfriend is outside. Wow, that's
I
funny.
love chatting though, because like I'm good at like talking about my life because it's interesting. Like I've got 40 years of experience and life experience. That's a long time.
That's what you do, isn't it?
And I think now that I'm 40, like I feel free to just be me.
When were you 40?
May the 4th.
Really?
Yeah.
That's my wife's birthday.
Oh wow.
Star Wars birthday.
Yeah. May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my birthday. I
I'm,
was 40.
How does it feel being 40?
Oh, I love it. I love being 40 because like I don't have to think too much about other people's opinions and stuff like that. Like I don't know, I feel older, but I feel happy. And I think because I've been speaking my truth as well, like I feel free. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Well, it's a weight off your shoulders.
It's a
isn't it?
weight off my
No,
shoulders.
I can imagine. Seriously, for me, I can imagine.
And the fact that I'm 40. So it's like when you're 40, there's a sense of freedom. Like I can't imagine what I'm going to be like when I'm 60. I'm just going to be like
crazy.
wild. Wild at 60. Yeah.
It's you do notice these things.
What, turning 40?
Well, yeah, sure. You obviously you notice it.
Yeah, of course you
It's a
do.
big
Jesus
one.
Christ.
It's coming up for me. And then, but I was just thinking about my stepdad when we were growing up, and thinking about him shouting at kids playing in the car park behind the house.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what are you talking about, man? Shut up. And now I hear anything,
Yeah.
and I'm at the curtains like, who's
Yeah.
who's that? What are they doing? Get away from my house. Get off my grass.
Yeah.
Move away from my car. That's what I'm finding that I'm getting more of closer to
you're getting a
40.
lot more wiser, more mature, more yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've matured. But I also feel like I've been through all this stuff. And like, it's like, this is a new start. Like changing my name and stuff. Like having Andreena Leeanne as my name now. And just owning my identity. Like, I feel like I've gone into my 40th year just being authentically me. And there's so much freedom in that. Like, I can't explain like how free I feel. And it's just great.
I think that's a good point to finish on.
Yeah, no, I think it
'Cause
is.
We've
Freedom.
We've talked and it's gone quick, which is a
Yeah.
good thing. And we're there. We've made use of the all of the amount of time we can get. So, your book is Charred. A survivor speaks her truth to inspire.
And it can be found on Amazon.
It can be found on Amazon by Andreena Leeanne, and it's got it's 4.7 out of 5-star rating. So it's doing very
wow.
well
It's kicking.
at the minute, and I'm going to get a copy of it shortly. But is there anything else that you want to get out there before we go? Do you have a website?
No, I don't have a website. I contemplated having a website, and then I just thought to myself, I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook, I've got a LinkedIn, I'm on Clubhouse. Like, how?
So I think
It's
when
just- it's just
what's
a
your
lot.
Instagram
My Instagram is
for the people?
survivor.andreena.leeanne. Survivor.andreena.leeanne. And
You also have one of those. Everybody's Googled their own name, haven't they?
yeah, I
Yeah,
have.
you've got one of the good pages where it actually brings something up. There's quite a lot on there.
Doesn't bring up anything when you Google it?
Huh? When you do my name?
Yeah, nothing comes up.
Couple things.
Just saying.
Hey?
Google my name.
Yeah, all right.
I
Netflix, Mr. Netflix over here.
Just saying. Come on.
Do you know what I
wish
mean?
Google could like put all of my stuff together, because I've got on Google, I've got my stuff under Andreena Bogle.
Oh, okay, yep.
Walton, now Andreena Leeanne. So I wish it like you'd have to Google each of the 3 separate
Individually.
names.
I think you
like,
can message them,
stuff.
you know.
I want them to all like consolidate it together.
You can ask them to take stuff off.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm sure you could ask them to link.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
Done.
let's see.
All good. Right, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Lots
much.
to learn, fascinating, and really appreciate you taking time out to come.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.